In life, we all encounter obstacles, and those obstacles come in all different shapes, sizes, and forms. The question is, how do we handle those obstacles? Do we attack them head on, or do we allow them to make us quit? Welcome to the No Quit Living podcast, where we aim to motivate and inspire listeners to never give up on themselves, their dreams, or their goals. We will interview successful people from all walks of life as they share their no-quit stories when they had the choice to give up or give in, but they didn't. We thank you for listening, and we hope to be that jolt of positivity as you go for your greatness. Welcome to episode number 180 of the No Quit Living podcast. I'm your host, Christopher J. Worth, and today's theme of the day is believing in yourself. Our quote of the day comes to us from Rachel Corrie, and I think it fits absolutely perfect for today's episode. Follow your dreams, believe in yourself, and don't give up. Today's episode is sponsored by the good people over at West Fair Communications, who publish the Westchester County Business Journal and the Fairfield County Business Journal. These newspapers do a wonderful job in covering all aspects of the business world within two of the most influential markets in the New York metropolitan area. You can also take advantage of their daily news feeds, which keep track on the companies and thought leaders in these important regions. For more information, take a look at www.westfaironline.com. Trust me, once you start reading, you won't quit. It is both an honor and a complete privilege to bring you today's episode. Our guest is an incredibly humble individual that truly never quit on himself or his dream. As the star of one of the greatest sports movies of all time, Rudy Ruettiger not only faced his challenges and obstacles head on, he accomplished his goals and ultimately made it onto the football field at Notre Dame. I hope you enjoy today's episode. Rudy, I'd like to welcome you to the No Quit Living podcast.
Well, this is a perfect segment for me, the no quit. That's kind of how I live my life, on things I believe in and things I'm not going to quit on.
No, I couldn't agree more. So the number one objective of our show is to both motivate and inspire listeners to never give up on themselves or their dreams. Mm-hmm. And I have to say that your story epitomizes the whole no quit mission. And I wanted to ask you, where did you get your entire no quit mental capacity, and where did that really come from?
Well, I think when you're a child in a certain culture, you have a certain feeling that you wanted to be somebody. You don't know what, but you just wanted to be somebody. And then as you go through your journey of life, you find out people trying to hold you back from being that somebody that you want to be. You have your dreams. Maybe you had a dream about playing Major League Baseball, for an example. Well, then someone stole that dream from you. Then you quit on that. Then you had another dream of maybe becoming a scientist. Well, then you found out you can't do that because your teacher said you're not smart enough. You go through all those different perceptions of people. What I found out, that when people tell you can't do something, they're the ones who are quitting on themselves. You're not quitting on yourself. So I eliminated that type of conversation with people and found out if I want to be something and I want to be somebody, I'm going to get around people that believe in themselves. And that's what helps me do the things I need to do. So that's an important concept, I feel, getting around people who believe in themselves, and they won't give you the attitude of you can't do it or you should quit type of attitude. They'll tell you to keep going, keep trying. And you've discovered there's other skills that you have, maybe not the one that you're really focused on, but you find out you can still contribute to that dream or that concept or that business or whatever you want to do, you can contribute somehow. And if you're really lucky, you're going to need some luck in your life by getting around people who give you that second chance. I think that's the key.
No, I think that's spot on, and I think your story within itself is remarkable because anybody that's seen the movie, and I have to say it's absolutely one of my top all-time favorite sports movies. So I wanted to ask you, in regards to the movie, what the football component of it, how accurate was all the football part within the movie?
Well, that's why we did the documentary, Rudy Ruettiger, The Walk-On. It's on Amazon Prime. We put that together to tell the actual how that journey is real, and one, how it happened, two, and also what we want to never forget is is the fact that the football has all different obstacles in it, and I call when you play sports or anything, you're going to lose, and sometimes when you lose, you got to learn how to lose so you can win. Lose to win, I say. If you win all the time, you don't know how to lose, then you won't know how to win. So you have to learn how to lose in sports, and I think that's what sports taught me, and that's what kept me going because I learned even in high school, even though I didn't have that what you call pedigree for Division 1 or that candidacy for Division 1 schools like Notre Dame. I thought there's other ways of getting there once you find out what you need to do. And sometimes you have to agree to disagree and compromise certain things in order to get there. So that was the challenge of get my attitude right on that. And once I found out that there's another way of getting there, it made it a bigger, different journey. That's why the story of the football was real in the movie, but we couldn't show the accuracy of it because you don't have enough time. So you had to do when you tell a story, you have to shortcut it, compromise, composite it, the dramatic moments. That's how you do the movie when you tell a story to keep it moving. So that was a little bit of a challenge for me because I've never done that before. But being around the right people helped me understand it, and it did tell the story. But the journey of making a movie is a lot bigger and better than actually going to Notre Dame and playing football. Because what I had to do for Notre Dame was I knew what I had to do was get better grades and get around people that could help me. Football was just going out there and sticking in there and not giving up. Well, Hollywood was a totally different story. I didn't know what to do. So you made a lot of mistakes along the way, but those mistakes turned out to be wonderful moments in my life because it's a blessing. When you make a big mistake, you learn from it, and you are blessed to do the right thing. So maybe that was the bigger story, making the movie and getting Notre Dame to agree to it. That's the story more than me. And again, going to Notre Dame, graduating from Notre Dame was huge. Getting in Notre Dame academically was huge for me. Um, Playing for Notre Dame was just had to stick it in. Hopefully, they give me that one moment to show them I belong there too. And that's all. That all becomes part of your attitude. Most people quit before that moment. If you don't quit on that moment and you keep moving forward, you find out there's going to be a wonderful moment that's there for you. And that's probably the moment a lot of people connected to because they said, wow, if I only would have stuck in there, well, I could have had my shot. Some people getting their shot now and they say, wow, am I glad I didn't quit? That's kind of like where I'm at with that. And so when you ask me the accuracy of the movie, the message was real accurate, but telling the story had to you had to flip flop a lot of moments and because you had to move and you had to move fast in a movie. You had to entertain and inspire people, and that was a little bit of a challenge as well, but it worked because you put yourself around people who understood how to do that. So I was real excited about that, and the story of meeting those people is a whole different story. So
So speaking of making the movie, and I've watched Rudy Ruettiger, The Walk on Amazon Prime, and I think it's a great story. And as I mentioned before, I know Nick Nant, and he was a former guest on the show. But wanted to ask you, how long did it actually take you to make the movie?
well, 10 years to put the movie together and 30 days to shoot it. So, I mean, it took 10 years for 30 days. It took me 27 years to play 27 seconds. So I never put time as a people say, oh, if you don't do it now, you never get it done. No, I never put that in my thought process. You just keep moving, and time was not a factor for me. Uh, yes, time's important. Don't get me wrong. At a certain point, you have to get done in a certain time period. But getting the story done, that you had to let it mature. You had to let it build the right relationship so it could be told right. So it took 10 years to do that.
That's incredible. And then in your documentary, Rudy Ruettiger, The Walk On, it touches upon the actual story of going from Holy Cross to Notre Dame. And I just wanted to ask if you wouldn't mind just briefly telling our listeners how many times you actually applied and got rejected to Notre Dame before you got in.
Well, it's not the fact on paper you applied 3 times, but in reality you applied many times. You go there and you ask questions, and they would, say no, you're not capable or you're not qualified. And I found out just talking to the wrong people. So I don't know how many times that was, but and then you found out that those people telling you that they're supposed to say that because that's what they're programmed to say. So I guess I just got around people say, yeah, you'll do it. I don't know the number. It was a constant number, constantly told to you you can't do it. It just tuned it out. That's what I did. So I didn't count how many, but I knew how many times on paper I applied, and I knew I needed 4 semesters at Holy Cross in order to get to Notre Dame. But I applied every semester so I could get them to know who I was. And that was important, by the way. If I only applied once, they probably never remembered me. But I applied twice, then they start remembering you when you do it the third time and you're in front of them and you're letting them know who you are. So that was a big difference. A lot of kids, I say, well, just because you got turned down, that doesn't say you can't go there. And it's a fact. It's true. There's another way. And that's what I'm trying to tell young people, because you think it's not how you start, it's how you end up. I started at Holy Cross, but I ended up with a degree from the University of Notre Dame. So again, I ended up as a walk-on, became a famous walk-on. So it's not how you start, it's how you end up and how people remember you for your effort, for how you programmed yourself with good thoughts, how you put yourself around good people, and the hard work you put in and the determination you had. And people pick up on that, they see that, and they really respect that. So they don't respect whiners, complainers, and people who always blame. They respect people who just put their foot down and move forward and keep shaking it up. I think that was the secret.
No, I couldn't agree more, and I loved how you touched on that. And during the movie, you're always upbeat, and I've seen you speak before, and I was curious, where did you get, or how did you develop what I call the attitude of gratitude, where you're always positive?
Well, I'm not always positive because you have your down days. Does that make sense? I
Yep.
mean, you can't stay positive all the time. Like right now, after I finish you, I got to get my attitude right to go do the spin class. You know, and to me, I'm saying no. But once I get there, I'm okay. So I got to get there first, then take the next step. And sometimes it's step by step. That's what I tell people. Life is step by step sometimes. Some days you wake up with a great attitude. Some days you wake up with a bad attitude. That doesn't say you can't shake it up and make it a good attitude. So you got to keep programming yourself. Do the things that are hard, and you find out there's a victory there. And when you get those little victories, you keep moving forward. Hopefully that makes sense. That's really saying the simplicity of it instead of getting into the psychological part of it or getting into, the layers of what people say. They give you all these different phrases and words and rules. Look, the only rule you have is to think good about yourself, and the rest will take care of itself. That's the key. And those steps will all be important because you'll follow people who are doing the right things, and you follow that. You do what they do. If you want to get skinny, go where skinny people eat, you know, or go where skinny people work out. Uh, I guess maybe that's why, or people who want to get in shape, you go where people who want to get in shape go. You don't go down to Big Burger and get a burger. You go work out, you know? So that's kind of making it simple. Go where people go that are doing what you want to do. Then you become positive. Then your whole attitude is positive. Um, hey, it's not easy. My buddy today, he's in Wisconsin. He's getting slammed with snow, and he can't go to work. But he says, "You know what, Rudy? I'm going to watch Rudy today." I said, "Well, there you go." So
That's awesome. So, How many
Yeah.
times have you watched the movie, Rudy?
Oh, I don't know. It's, I watch it on different levels, as you know, because you put it together. When you put a movie together like that, you see all the different, oh, that could have been better, that we should have done that. But I look at it now as a message, which is really good. So I see it a lot in many different forms and different segments of it. Is, I don't look, I could turn on the TV and Rudy's on. So I watch it. Why not? Uh, it's something I can't turn off, I guess. But when it's on, I watch it. It's funny. You even know what's going to happen. You still watch.
I have to admit, whenever it's on, whether it's the beginning, middle, or end,
Yeah,
I definitely watch it through. So I want to ask maybe a tough question, but if somebody
sure.
was listening to your story for the first time
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
seeing the movie for the first time, if there was one message that you wanted them to really take or receive, what would that be?
Man, believe in yourself. That's the key. Get whatever you need to do to believe in yourself, because belief is a big thing. Believing that you are somebody, you are worth it, and that's my biggest message. Hope is a big deal. When you give people hope, man, it's a big deal.
No, I think those are great messages. And in the documentary, you talk about something, don't live in regret. I wanted to ask if you wouldn't mind just expanding on that for a minute.
Well, living in regret is terrible because you're that woulda, coulda, shoulda guy. Is that the guy you want to be? I could have done it. I should have done it. Maybe I don't know why I didn't do it. Just do it, and you won't live in regret. If I didn't try out to go to Notre Dame, I don't live in regret now. Even though I failed, I don't live in regret. At least I tried, and that's the victory.
No, I think
That's
that's
the deal right there.
No, I think that's great advice, and I think that's something you touched on, and we often talk about that as the woulda, coulda, shoulda. You might not fail, you might not succeed, you might not accomplish that goal, but if you don't try, you're never going to succeed. You're never going to accomplish it. So I think it's such an important thing. So before we went live, we talked about some exciting news where you have a show coming to Broadway on February 11th, and I just wanted to ask if you wouldn't mind just expanding on that a little bit.
Well, it's interesting. I get a letter from my daughter. She goes to the Boston Conservatory. Uh, she lives. She she's from Las Vegas, Nevada. Then she goes to Boston. It's a culture shock. It's cold. It's snowy. It's rainy. The skies are gray. The sun's not out that much. School's hard. School's difficult. Friends are hard to find. The right friends. Uh, and school's challenging. It's demanding. And she writes me this letter. Well, it was over the summer. She would ask me, Dad, I don't know if I want to go back. I said, honey, you got to go back. You don't want to live in regret, honey. Here's why. If you don't go back, you'll be mad because you didn't try it. Go try one more time. See what happens. And something else good happens. And she comes back, and her friends try to influence her. Oh, you should transfer. She says, no, I think I'm going to keep going forward. Dad, should I go? Yeah, go back. You'll be surprised what will happen. Go back. So the Boston Red Sox wins the World Series. She's right there when they win. So that's exciting. She's doing better in school. She's finding better friends. Things are working out. So when she wrote me the letter, I said, I could tell my story through her letter. And that's how we tell the story, through Jessica's letter. Dad, tell me how you did it before you were Rudy. Before Rudy. What were you like before Rudy? You know, how'd you become Rudy? That type of thing. She said, help me, uh, inspire me to keep going. To tell me your story, Dad. So that's how the show. I tell my story to my daughter and to the audience, and that's how we do it.
No, that's remarkable. And for our listeners, we'll have a link on it. The show is February 11th in New York City on Broadway. It's one day only. How are you doing with the preparation? How do you think it's going to be being on stage versus being in front of a camera?
Well, first of all, I'm always on stage. Been on stage for 25 years, and I've been on stage all my life, so it's no big deal for me. I can't wait to get there. You know, it's an exciting moment. And it's at the Samuel L. Friedman Theater, which is a wonderful theater, by the way. It's an awesome theater, and people Uh, if they should get the experience, if anything, to go there. It's a great showcase. It's going to be a New York. You're in New York, and this is an opportunity. Uh, for they say, well, you be there for one night. Well, some people never get there. I only played football one time. Look what it did. I made one tackle. Look what it did. Right?
No, I love that, and I think when you spoke about it before is, it took you 27 years to play 27 seconds, and you just
Right.
mentioned it's that one play. And some people don't get there, and it goes back to what we spoke about before is the woulda, coulda, shouldas, is I'd rather
Right.
try and fail, or I'd rather try
Right.
and miss than not try at
Right.
all, because I talk all the time is you might not get it, but you're never going to accomplish that goal or that objective if you don't try. And I think that's what's the best part about your story in general is it's all about the effort and believing, and you might not accomplish it, but at the end of the day you got to go ahead and do it.
Oh, there you go. And that's a perfect segue. I'll go and say, hey, I failed more times than I won. So failure's not bad, is it? Look where it got me.
No, I love that. And I wanted to ask you, do you have a favorite quote by any chance?
A favorite quote?
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, I hear a lot of quotes, I guess, and um, favorite quote. Let me. You ask me. Let's see.
Didn't mean to put you on the spot there.
No. Hold on here, because I have many quotes, and when you think of a quote, I think of my parents, and I think of my dad, and I think about all the different things. When he died, death takes the body, God takes the soul. Our mind holds the memories. Our heart keeps the love. Our faith lets us know we will meet again. I think that's a great quote.
Then it's an amazing quote. And you talk about in the documentary your parents' work ethic. And I think that's probably something that in the movie you don't fully see because, like you said, it's hard to show everything. But what do you think it's about your parents' work ethic that really allowed you to be the successful person you are today?
They loved each other. It was all about love. And that's, love takes away hate, and light takes away darkness. And that's what they taught me.
And you are one of 14 children?
Yeah.
Yes, that's the one thing that wasn't shown in the movie, which I think is remarkable.
Well,
'Cause
if you look at the movie, start counting those kids.
were there
That- that-
14
that-
kids in the movie?
Oh, in the beginning, just start counting them.
And I know in the
Go
doc.
around the table, and Ned Beatty says, "Who are you?" Oh, I'm Rudy's girlfriend. Because we always also, because we had a lot of friends, and they would always come over and eat too. So we always had 20 people eating every night at least.
That's amazing. And here's a different question for you. If you could define yourself, but you could only use one word, what would that word be?
Tenacious.
I think that's a perfect word for you. And then for our listeners that would like to connect with you or follow you, what's the best way for them to do that?
And they could go on Cameo. I can shout out to them on Cameo. There's a little app. Go on Cameo, CAMEO, and we could give you shout out to your favorite moment, or you can. We'll be on camera. We'll say something positive to you. But Cameos is in RudyInternational.com. It's another way. The official Rudy, the real Rudy Factor, however you want to do it. But it's I don't know. I'm not big on social media, but this Cameo thing's really cool.
Hey,
Sean Astin and I are on it. It's fun.
hey,
People, we shout out to them.
that's awesome. And before
ahead.
we let you go, Rhea, I wanted to ask you if you have any parting words you'd like to leave with our listeners.
Hey, we'll see you in New York, brother.
I love it. I love it. I appreciate it, Rudy. Thank you so much for being on the show. I look forward to seeing you on the 11th.
Yeah, you bet. God bless you, brother. All right, bye-bye.
Take care, pal.
All right, bye.
Thank you for listening to episode number 180. Whether or not you are a fan of either college or professional football, I'm sure you have at least heard of, if not seen, the movie Rudy. When it comes to the best sports movies of all time, Rudy is always mentioned. Rudy Ruettiger was not the biggest, the fastest, nor was he the best football player on the field. But what he did have was a firm belief in his goals, a big heart, and he wasn't going to give up or quit. During the interview, Rudy touched upon the importance of not living in regret and surrounding yourself with the right people. A couple of interesting facts that Rudy shared with us was that it took him over 10 years to get the movie made, yet they only had 30 days to film it. It took Rudy 27 years to play 27 seconds in one game. The best part about the interview was Rudy talking about thinking good about yourself and believing in yourself. He also mentioned how hope is a very big thing. Rudy spoke about how it's not where you start, but it's how you end up. So my question to you today is just that. Where are you today, and where do you want to go? I challenge you to take a hard look at your life, your career, and or your relationships. If you are not where you want to be, don't quit and don't give up. As you go for your greatness, listen to Rudy's words. Believe in yourself, have hope, and dream big. I would like to end with a quote from Rudy Ruettiger himself. When you achieve one dream, dream another. Getting what you want is only a problem if you have nowhere to go next. Dreaming is a lifetime occupation. And lastly, to our listeners, thank you. We truly appreciate your time, and we hope our episodes inspire you to keep on attacking life and never giving up. To quote Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, it's always too early to quit.